We're looking at the upcoming 2025 Canadian federal election.
But not through the usual polls and pundits, right?
Exactly. We're diving into tangential celestial phenomena and astrology. We've got some source material suggesting what the stars might hint at for the election around April 28th.
It's definitely a unique angle. Our mission, let's say, is to explore these astrological interpretations, see what kind of potential outcomes they suggest. Not predicting, really, but understanding a symbolic perspective.
Yeah, more like reading the cosmic signs.
Yeah.
And apparently there's one big sign everyone's talking about, something that happened on April 27th.
That's right. A really striking visual phenomenon observers called a smiling face in the sky.
A smiling face. Okay, tell me more. That sounds intriguing.
So picture this. Pre-dawn sky, April 25th, you've got a thin crescent moon looking like a smile,
Wow.
and right above it, like two eyes, are Venus and Saturn, all nestled together in the constellation Pisces. It's quite a poetic image, actually.
Wow, okay, a celestial smile. It does have a certain optimistic feel, doesn't it?
Right.
But astrologically speaking, what do these players, Venus, Saturn, the moon, usually represent? Let's break that down.
Sure. So each one brings something different to the table, astrologically. Venus, especially in Pisces, that's considered its exalted position, where it's supposedly strongest.
Exalted, okay.
It represents harmony, inclusiveness, we'd say, and sometimes wealth or abundance. Venus feeling good, basically.
Nice. And Saturn usually seems a bit more serious.
Definitely. Saturn, also in Pisces here, brings structure, discipline, maybe a dose of hard reality. It's about limits, responsibility.
Got it. And the moon.
The moon is almost always about the public mood, emotions, the collective feeling. Our source uses the term, "oh, the heart of the people."
Okay, so Venus bringing the good vibes, Saturn bringing the realism, and the moon reflecting how people are feeling.
Yeah.
How does that smiling face configuration tie it all together? What's the message?
Well, the key interpretation is that it suggests balance, not conflict. The moon, the public mood, seems buoyed by Venus's harmony. Right. But it's also grounded by Saturn's call for responsibility. So the reading is that the public mood is something like satisfied but demanding responsibility. It's not just happy-go-lucky.
Satisfied but demanding responsibility.
Huh. That's quite specific.
Oh.
So the big leap now, how does this celestial vibe translate to the election floor? How are these planets being mapped onto Canadian politics?
This is where it gets really direct.
Yeah.
The source material draws parallels. Venus, with that focus on inclusiveness and economic stability, is linked to the current Liberal Party.
Okay, makes sense with their branding.
And Saturn, emphasizing fiscal tightening, rules, constraints, you see, that's associated with the Conservative Party.
Right, the discipline aspect.
Exactly. And the moon, again, is the overall electorate.
Yeah.
The voters, their
Yeah.
sentiment.
All right, so the cosmic stage is set. We have the smiling face alignment just before the vote. Venus linked to liberals, Saturn to conservatives. What's the astrological prediction then? What does the smile foretell for April 28th? Okay, so the sources outline a few key predictions based on this. The first one is this idea of coal, basically, continuation coexisting with moderate adjustment. Meaning the strong Venus energy suggests voters are leaning towards sticking with the liberals, liking the themes of inclusiveness and economic stability.
So, keep things going, generally.
Pretty much, but maybe with some tweaks. It's not necessarily a ringing endorsement for everything.
But you mentioned Saturn earlier. Doesn't that complicate things?
It does. That's the moderate adjustment part, maybe. Saturn's presence means that call for discipline, for fiscal caution. The conservative voice isn't going to be ignored or marginalized.
Oh.
It suggests the conservatives will likely remain a strong, significant opposition. They provide that structural balance Saturn represents.
So, a liberal government likely continues, but with a strong conservative opposition keeping them in check. Interesting. What else does the celestial forecast say?
The second prediction comes from the shape of the smile itself. It's seen as representing harmonious cooperation.
Harmonious cooperation.
Wow.
How so?
The point made is that it's a gentle smile, not a huge triumphant grin,
Okay.
which hints at a likely outcome being a narrow liberal victory, maybe a slim majority, maybe a strong minority government. Enough to win, but not overwhelmingly.
A gentle smile means they probably can't just do whatever they want.
Exactly. It implies they'll likely need to work with other parties. The source specifically mentions the NDP and the Bloc Québécois as potential collaborators to get things done.
So the stars themselves are suggesting coalition building, or at least cross-party cooperation.
That's the interpretation, yeah. The smile isn't one of dominance, but perhaps one inviting partnership.
Fascinating. Even the cosmos wants politicians to play nice. Okay, what's next on the astrological agenda?
The third point is about another aspect entirely, something called a play, or Pisces-Cancer trine.
A trine. Okay, remind me what that is in astrology.
A trine is a 120-degree angle between planets or points. It's generally seen as a very flowing, harmonious, easy aspect. Good energy. Here, it's between Pisces, where the alignment is happening, and Cancer.
And why is Cancer significant here?
Well, Canada's birth chart, based on July 1st, 1867, has its sun in Cancer. And Cancer, astrologically, is all about home, family, security, nurturing. The source describes it as hu sunu, caring for ordinary families, the social safety net.
Right, so this harmonious trine between Pisces and Cancer means?
It suggests that these Cancerian themes, livelihood, family security, social safety nets, will be really top of mind for voters. Issues that hit close to home.
Making things like radical changes or big cuts may be less popular.
That's the idea. The interpretation is that because of this focus on security and basic well-being, policies seen as too disruptive or that social programs might not get much traction. People want stability on that front.
That feels quite grounded, actually. An astrological push towards focusing on the basics. What's the final piece of this?
The last point noted is really interesting. It's summed up as okan, meaning poles and astrology are showing a kind of resonance. They're vibrating on the same frequency, so to speak. The source mentions a specific YouGov MRP poll prediction that came out, suggesting a liberal majority of around 20 seats.
Okay, a conventional poll and the astrology.
The astrology with that smile leaning left, as they put it, the inclusive side winning slightly, which we link to the liberals via Venus,
Right.
seems to align with that poll result. It's presented as a case where the astrological feeling matches the data coming from traditional polling methods.
So the stars in the spreadsheets are kind of pointing in a similar direction.
That's the suggestion, yeah. An intriguing confluence.
Okay, let's try and wrap this cosmic analysis up.
Right.
Based on everything, the smiling face, the Venus-Saturn dynamic, the trine, the pole resonance, what's the overall astrological takeaway for the 2025 election?
The synthesis suggests the Liberal Party is favored to continue governing. Maybe they hold steady, maybe they gain a bit, but likely in a minority or slim majority situation.
And the Conservatives?
Expected to remain a strong, effective opposition, providing that Saturnian balance and oversight in Parliament.
What about the governing agenda?
The focus is likely to be heavily on those people's livelihood issues, social security, cost of living, maybe Canada-US relations too. And crucially, progress might really depend on finding ways to cooperate across party lines. That harmonious cooperation idea again.
Wow. It's definitely a different way to look at an election, moving beyond the day-to-day political noise. Really gives you something to think about.
It does, doesn't it?
So here's a final thought for you as you watch the results come in, maybe on April 28th. Could these larger patterns, these collective moods, maybe even reflected, symbolically, in celestial events like a smiling face in the sky, actually shaped our political landscape in ways we don't fully grasp through conventional analysis alone? Something to ponder.